Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. I am your host, Swaglock, but I'm not the only host on this podcast. That's right, I know who you're all truly waiting for. That is Chicken. Chicken, what's up, dude?
What's going on, boy?
Not much. A little tired. It's been a long week. I was working all weekend at a big event we were doing, so I'm like,
yeah, that's pretty
my
cool.
brain is fried. I'm a little loopy probably today, so we'll see what happens. But it's gonna be a good podcast. It's gonna be a very good podcast.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Yeah.
It's dude. I feel like there's just so much. There's so much happening, kind of in WoW, but also not.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like it feels like things are in a good spot, but there's also not a lot of like big like stuff coming out, right? Because normally it's like one or the other. Normally you're like kind of in this dead period where there's nothing to do, but there's a lot of upcoming things. And then sometimes you're in this period where it's like, yeah, I'm still like enjoying the game. I'm still vibing.
Yeah.
And right now we're kind of still vibing, but we're getting news on the 0.5 patch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know normally we won't go right into our news like this, but it's just on my mind. We're getting news on the 0.5 patch, but like there's not really much to it, correct?
No, there's not really, which is kind of a surprise.
Have they said anything about like story like stuff or like more quest lines or anything?
Yeah, there is some of those details, and we'll get into those.
Okay.
But let's address the elephant in the room first.
Okay.
I know you were like, let's just not even mention it, but I want to because this is a fifth episode, and there's no one here.
No one here. That's right.
And unfortunately, guys, the truth behind it is, hey, life gets busy, right? And we just didn't have the time, and we didn't want to get a subpar guest for the podcast. So we are taking a break from the guest podcast. But I promise you, at the 60th episode, I believe, this is the 55th. At the 60th, we will do our best to get someone in here, and we'll have a good discussion, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have a great guest back in a handful of episodes, and we'll continue to have awesome guests. Like I love bringing guests in, and the cool thing about guests on this podcast too, just so maybe pull the curtain back on the way Chicken and I plan things and think about things, is the guest slot. We do a guest. If you haven't caught on, every fifth episode we try to have a guest on the podcast. Maybe you've noticed, maybe you haven't noticed, but we try to bring guests on. And the guest that we bring on doesn't always, like, sometimes we bring cool content creators, right? Like Gorilla and Oreo and Touchpad Warrior, Raleigh Roz, or like we bring content creators in. But sometimes it's also just bringing people who are our friends on, guildmates, people we talk to on Discord, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason for that is just there's something fun when you throw a third voice into the conversation, right? Because you hear Chicken and Swag rant about the same topics all the time. So to have that like third voice, even if it's not a name you've ever heard before, even if like it's just our buddy from work or something who also happens to play WoW, it's fun. Which, by the way, I met another one, by the way. It's fun.
Oh,
yeah, it's fun to just like have that extra voice on the podcast. And so that's kind of why we do it. However, this weekend, more so my fault than Chicken's fault. I had a very busy weekend. We had a retreat this weekend for work. And so I've literally like
it's life, dude.
I was busy all day Friday, and there was a shot we might have recorded Friday morning, but then we weren't able to. And then all day Saturday I was obviously just not home. I was out most Friday, so I came back home late last night because then I had work also this morning for another thing. So I'm like mentally fried. I was like, dude, I don't even know exactly when we'll be able to record. I might be dead when I get home. I might need a nap first, but also I might want to do it before I nap because maybe once I'm done, like it was a whole thing. So it's just like, let's just not do a guest this week, and we'll bring another one in soon enough. So episode 60. By the way, if you have people that you're like, yo, I think this person would be awesome to be on the podcast. I have like a connection to them somehow, and I'd love to invite them on. I'd love to like connect you guys. Let us know. Like we're always interested in more opinions, more ideas, especially for people maybe who are more comfortable in this realm. It's always fun to do that.
Yeah, even if they're like those, PvPers.
Dude,
Oh,
there's
man.
a guy who I've been kind of. So one thing I do a lot, by the way, because I'm always looking out for guests. I'm always looking out for guests, and so
Oh,
I
yeah.
find people a lot on like TikTok. I find a lot of WoW content creators through TikTok, and then I'll watch their like Twitch streams, right? And watch their Twitch streams because I also know like we're probably not pulling Growl onto the podcast next week, right? Like that's probably not gonna happen. He's got a huge audience, and as much as I would love to sit and chat with you and him about gameplay stuff, he's probably got different things on his plate that he's got to do, and priorities that he's got to do. So, admittedly, right, like I love kind of finding like these smaller, growing content creators. These content creators, I'm like, yo, I'd love to get them on and get their insight and their opinions before they blow up, right? Like before they kind of outgrow an ability to be on the podcast. And so I will admit I find these people like on I find awesome creators on like TikTok and Instagram or stuff, and then I'll go follow them and I'll like lurk on their Twitch streams for a while because I'll be like, yo, is this somebody who would like actually be like enjoyable to have a conversation with? Like,
Yeah.
Or are they gonna pop in and just kind of like
Be like
mute,
a nerd.
right? Or just like mute for a while. And so I will admit there's definitely for sure one, maybe two. I think there's two PvPers. One's more of like an arena PvPer and one's more like a battlegrounds PvPer that I've kind of been watching. I'm like, I think either of them might be fun to have on. I would like, if that was the case, dude, I'd have to do some PvP the week of just to make sure conversationally I can keep up. I don't need to lead the conversation, but just to at least know the right questions to ask, jokes to make, etc., etc.
No, I agree. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I don't think I could PvP. That's not me.
You can do it, dude. I believe. Weren't you PvPing pretty heavily for like one season, like arenas or something?
Yeah, towards the end, and then it just like I don't know. PvP is so hard.
It is.
Like I feel like
the skill, dude. The skill these guys have is crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if I didn't spend so much time doing M plus and put that time towards PvP, I'd probably actually enjoy PvP, but I don't think I can do both. That's kind of the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage both? I mean, how do you manage time in a game that literally has like so many different aspects to it?
Oh, like, that's true.
I feel like when I was part of the raid, like I was doing so much in this game, and now like I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, you know, once we kind of get back into the real like topics of the podcast, and we can right now, like you know what we've been up to this week. You know, I've noticed that like just without raiding, I feel like my what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if desire is the right word, but my like maybe desire is the right word. My desire to play this game just goes away so much quicker when I don't raid. Like it's like, oh, I got 10s. Like, do I really want to get Keystone Legend? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think some of it's competitive, right? In the sense that like you're in a guild, and so you don't want to look like you're behind everybody else in the guild. But the raid team keeps you interacting with people, and so the moment you're no longer interacting with people, it becomes tough because it's like, like I don't know why should I care what they see my rating as, right? But then like when you're raiding, and I don't think this is a bad thing. I actually think this is a very good thing. WoW by nature is a social guild. By nature, World of Warcraft is a social guild. You can play it in solo capacities, but the beauty of the game is that it is a social game. And if you enjoy it as a solo game, cool, awesome. I don't think that's what the game was intended to be, but if you're having fun, that's good. Like that, like I just care that you're having fun in the game. But it is by nature like social. And so there is something about showing up to raid, right? Like you show up to raid, for us it's like Wednesday night, right? So I get there Wednesday night, and if it looks like I haven't been putting work in that week to improve over the previous week, I feel bad, dude, right? Like I feel bad. Especially early in the season, like the first like I don't know, third of the season, when you know like that there's major increases to still be had, and like you can still get pretty good bumps up in your gear. As time goes on, maybe you don't feel as bad anymore because you're like, I could go fill my vault. I could go fill my vault for the chance of maybe getting a mythic piece of gear, right? But again, I think WoW is very social, and so it is that desire to show up and look like you've put the time and the effort and the work in to be prepared and to kind of be on par with what everybody else is doing, which for sure also makes it harder to desire to grow when you're not doing that. I know myself. Like I know myself well enough to know I'd be in the same boat. Like if I was just playing WoW solo, I don't really know what I'd be doing. I'd actually probably just be doing a lot of battlegrounds. I'm not gonna lie.
You think?
If I was like a solo WoW player, I'd probably just start doing battlegrounds instead.
Just do
maybe arenas.
Just do like
And which is funny because I'm not a PvP guy, dude. I'm not like a PvP
no,
guy.
really, yeah.
But you know what happens though? That gives me the opportunity to engage with other players and compare myself to other players.
Mm-hmm.
That's outside of like a raid format. Like if I wasn't raiding and I wasn't doing like M plus and I wasn't doing M plus, right? That gives me an environment where I'm like, okay, I can show up and I can still be a part of a team, and maybe the queue time is a little bit shorter, so I don't have to have like dedicated large amounts of time, but I can have like shorter amounts of time dedicated, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know if I could ever just be a pure solo experienced player, because I like having the comparative growth, right? And in the same way, I don't play a lot of the single player games. I really don't. I struggle to finish single player games unless the story is really compelling and the game is constantly pushing me forward. Sometimes open world games are hard for me to finish because it's not pushing me forward enough, right? So, like, hot take, people are going to get upset with me. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are probably some of my lesser preferred Zelda games.
Ooh,
and it's because
that is gonna like aggro people.
Yeah, that's gonna aggro people. Which, by the way, though, they're beautiful games. They're brilliantly designed games. Yeah. Like, they're fantastic. But I would love another linear Zelda game to come out, or like semi-linear. I think, and maybe it's more Tears of the Kingdom for me than Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom was too open world, in the sense of like, dude, I would just find myself getting lost and wandering around for too long, and it's just like but that's just how I am, right? And so if the game isn't pushing me hard along, the moment I start wandering, I'm just like, oh, I'm just wandering by myself in the video game, and I'll go play something else, right? But in WoW, I'll wander forever, because while I'm wandering, I'm also like randomly chatting with Steve in the guild, right? I'm like, yo, Steve, what's up? Yeah, I don't know. There's no Steve in our guild, but
Steve,
dude, hey, listen. If you join our guild, Astra from the podcast, right? And you like, if you're in our guild or will join our guild this week or something, next time you log in, just be like, all caps, yo, Steve, what's up? And just like, I don't know, man. But don't explain it. Say. Yeah. Don't explain it. Don't no one explain it. It's just gonna be a thing.
Yo, Steve. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, outside of that, how was your week in WoW? What'd you get into?
Oh, this week was not the most mega eventful. I feel like I've had some more eventful weeks. After we record this, I'm gonna watch some TV with the wifey, and then after that, I'm gonna run some keys with guildmates. So that's kind of on the calendar. I'm excited to do that. I've done a little bit already. I know you and I had recorded bonus content early this week, doing a key in a group, which was fun. So that's like new Patreon content of doing M plus like 10s together, and just recording the conversations and what's going on, which is, I think, good, dude. I like doing content with you. I love gaming with you, and I feel like just, unless we are intentional to schedule it, it just never happens.
Oh yeah, no, I'm like pretty bad at doing that, because for me, I have a limited time to play, and I'm like, I don't want to inconvenience people with that, and it's like such like a come on, you're being like kind of selfish in a way of doing that, but I'm like, like I just feel weird being like, oh, I can't do this, so I have to inconvenience you to do it. I don't know.
Totally get that.
It's weird.
I totally get that worry, though. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. But that was fun, doing that content.
Yeah, it was fun.
If you've been listening to podcasts for a while, last season on my tank, I wanted to push 12s and get all my 12s done, and maybe even get KSL. I'm ready to start making that push again. Been talking to people. Actually, this time I'm being more strategic. So, like, I've been talking to people, being like, yo, I think I'm ready. My healer can do it. I don't think I can go into a group and carry a group, right? Like, I'm not going into a Pug 12 where, like, none of the group has any experience in 12s and we're just flopping around. I can't do that. But if I'm in a group that's, like, coordinated, in comms, talking, like, dude, my healer is plenty good. Like, I'm actually, like, dude, I hate to say this, I'm feeling stronger on my healer than I did on my tank. And I think I was a pretty dang good tank. I think I was a pretty dang good tank, too. And I will be back to it. I love tanking. I'm feeling the itch right now, by the way. But I'm going to try and get KSL on my healer, and see if I can pull that off, which I'm pretty confident I can. And the nice thing, too, is, like, when you're healing, you don't have to know, like, every perfect route, right? Like, you're not the team lead. You have your own things to worry about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is, because you did say you felt more comfortable on your healer than your tank. Do you think that is like because like that weight of like if I die, like that could just like destroy the group? Does that kind of go off your shoulders a little bit? Because like as a healer, I still feel you're like, oh, it's my job to keep the group alive. So if the group dies, it's kind of my fault, right? Like, so
Yeah, a couple things. I have a few
that's
thoughts.
a weird like, yeah, that's a weird like this or that kind of. Because if you went from like tank to DPS, it's like, oh, DPS can friggin' clean the floor, and like a key could still be timed easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, the honest answer, you know what the honest answer is?
I'm ready.
I think part of it is I'm a little lazy. I'm a little lazy. And I don't know if I love having to like be doing tons of research into what the optimal routes are in a dungeon and how to do those routes. And also knowing exactly which routes work for which compositions, right? Being like, oh, this route works if I have this class. And this route works if this class is in there. And because I'm a DK, these are the routes that I should be using, right? That just, you know, sometimes that's a little extra. And again, it's something I enjoy. But, you know, having a season away from it's nice. And so I'm a healer. I think that the same pressure exists, by the way. Like if I die as a healer, now it's not as bad as the tank, but even still, people are going to start going down if I'm dead, right? Like if the healer's gone, people are going to start going down. With that said, though, I'm also just not dying on my healer. Like, not to boast or brag, but I feel pretty tanky. Maybe that's just Resto Shaman. Maybe Resto Shaman is that way. But I don't know, man. I feel like it's just been easier. Like I feel like dungeons have been a lot easier than when I've been tanking, or when I was tanking. And I don't think it's the actual class. It's like the role itself. Like actually, like tanking mobs and holding mobs. I love doing that. Like that's actually really fun gameplay. And so it's not that. It's just I think it's the responsibility side of things. And I think there's something I like knowing that when we start wiping and we can't complete it further, I don't feel as responsible. Like I just don't feel as responsible when we wipe as a healer than I do when I'm tanking. Like when I'm tanking and something and it falls apart, I feel responsible.
You're like, this was me, basically.
Even if somebody butt pulls and pulls in like a whole extra pack or two, like they could pull 2 more packs in, and I feel responsible if anybody dies because I'm like, dang, I should have pulled aggro faster. I should have like saved that moment. Like that was all on me. And now as a healer, I'm just like, wow, nerd, you pulled the extra DPS pack over there. Why'd you do that, right? I can't heal that, right? Like you just move on, you know.
Yeah, you dummy.
Yeah. And also I will say for the most part when I'm healing, I don't really have anybody who's dying from a lack of healing, right? Like I'm not watching anybody's health slowly go down until they just like can't survive an attack anymore. It's just like I see somebody get one shot and I'm like, that was on you. Right? Like otherwise I'm keeping them up. Like otherwise I'm doing fine. So I don't know. Maybe healing fits more for how I play. But again, though, I think tanking is still my love, right? I'm glad I'm flexing my healing muscles for this season. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I'll be back to tanking. I will say,
I feel like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
What were you saying?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I've been talking about playing Brewmaster this season, right? Kind of giving Blood DK like a total rest. However, I will admit, I hopped on my Brewmaster the other day. I was playing it, and it was fun. And then the thought just popped in my head of like, yeah, but dude, you know, Swag, you know if you grab your Blood DK, it's going to feel like riding a bike. Like, you know the moment you hit that first heart strike, you pop your Blood Boil pulling like the first pack, you know you're just going to be like, oh yeah, this is my Blood DK.
Oh, man.
This is where I belong. This is what I was made for, right? Like, this is what the Lich King raised me to do.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that is how you would feel.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd probably be a little upset because Slappy Hands, but
what happened with Slappy Hands?
Oh my gosh! Stop! Too soon. Can't talk about it, man.
No, dude. Moment of silence for Slappy Hands.
Yeah.
All right, but Chicken, what have you been up to, man? What are you doing in the world of Azeroth?
Grinding back to the 10s. I got all my 10s done, so that feels pretty good. Now I'm just trying to get into some 11s, 12s. Again, like I said, I'm kind of deciding like this is the moment. Like, do I give up or do I kind of like push forward? So I'm kind of in this area of what if, and to kind of put some clarification on that. I have a feeling that a break from WoW is going to be in my future. Like I think I think and if that's like, oh, is the podcast going down? No, because a true break from WoW will never happen. I'll probably only just play like once a week or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still really enjoy the game, and I like keeping up with it and doing that kind of stuff because, it's just one of my hobbies at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like there's a sense of me that's like, I think I need to take a break from this game for the good, for the better of it. And I'm curious if I don't do it now, if it's gonna come at a point where it's really gonna kind of hurt me in terms of like the way the storyline is going right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because otherwise you're
Like,
gonna find yourself like taking a break when things are getting good again or something.
yeah, like right at the end of midnight, and like the last Titan looks like sick, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, like I really just don't want to play WoW right now, but I'm gonna hate myself if I don't, and then it's just gonna like feel forced. So I'm kind of wondering, like, should I kind of just take a little bit of a break now, maybe play a little bit of Legion Remix, kind of come back when Player Housing comes out, and then just like full send it back into midnight. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm definitely not done with the game, not even close, but it might cut down, like maybe only playing a couple times a week.
It's also easier to like when there's interesting things going on, right? To keep going and be excited about it.
Yeah.
But then what happens though, the danger is you force yourself when things aren't very exciting. And then when they do get exciting again, you're mentally already worn out, right? Like your brain's already trying to find a way to get out of this. And so like now it's just worse because now you feel obligated, right? And it's hard, I'll be honest, it's hard when you're as a content creator. And I felt this in the past for other games. I haven't felt it for World of Warcraft yet. And that's just partly because this is the game I love to play. But, I did Minecraft in the past. I did Fortnite in the past. I, and other games too, right? Like that I got really into for content creation purposes. And they're fun games, dude. They're fun games and I love them. But, like, once I started doing them for content, like, it hit the point where, like, the only times I played those games was for content. Because otherwise, if I did it off live stream or I did it while I wasn't recording.
Oh, it just felt awful.
Right. It just felt awful. And World of Warcraft isn't that, but one lesson I learned from the time period though is when you start to feel that, like slug, you just got to take the break. And especially like for, those who are listening who are not content creators, WoW's awesome. WoW's an amazing game. There's nothing wrong though if you take a break for a little bit so that you can come back and enjoy it more. There's no shame in that, right? And you'll never hear me guilt chicken about being like, well, if you're taking a break, then you can't be on the podcast anymore. First of all, this is his podcast just as much as my podcast, and secondarily, dude, I wanna be making this podcast for the long haul, right? Like I want to be doing this for a long time, and I can't do that for a long time if like our co-host is just burnt out completely.
I'm just not playing.
But again, though, there is the element of like we are content creators, and so both of us knew what we signed up for when we started this, and so that's why even you hear Chicken say like, nah, I'm gonna take a break, but that break also means I'm still popping into the game just enough to peek around, see what's going on, make sure I'm up to date, so that I can speak well about the game that I love.
Oh yeah,
right, and that people don't feel like they
really enjoy this game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd never not play this game. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no different than, your day job, right? Like, there's a reason why I don't come home and build electronics in my garage. It's because I do it for 40 hours a week.
Bro, you know what you need?
When I'm done,
You know what you need? You know what you need, Burnick? Not Burnick. I had Chicken. I called you Burnick. That's our Discord mod. He's wonderful. You know what you need, though, dude? You need take a break from WoW and just binge Borderlands 4 for a few weeks.
Oh my goodness. Low key, maybe. I would like to catch up on some of my TV. I think that's probably what I'll do. There's a couple TV shows that I really want to watch that I just have been. No, but Twisted Metal. If you've just a quick side rant, Twisted Metal on Peacock, very good, super good. And it has a lot of nostalgia for me because I played a lot of the Twisted Metal games growing up. So
they were cool.
Super good.
It looked like the show looked good.
It's really good. Like it's one of the better made video game TV shows or movies. Like it is really good, actually. It's very good. So So yeah, there's a lot of TV that I'd like to catch up on. So
Plus, you gotta
and
watch
there's a lot of
the
games,
One
so.
Piece live action.
The One Piece live action,
Dude, yeah, dude, they're doing the One Piece like live action thing at the mall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
That's
opening
kinda
up.
neat.
Okay, this is so random, but they're opening up this like it's called like the Netflix house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's gonna have like a live action like One
yeah,
Piece
yeah.
like experience of some kind. I don't know exactly what
that's
that
kinda
means,
neat.
but I believe they're building like the ship and everything. Now, granted, people here aren't
Oh man, that's pretty
aren't
cool.
One Piece fans, but all that to say, like that's pretty cool. I don't remember how we got in this direction. Oh, you talk about watching TV shows, catching up, cuddling with the wife on the couch.
Catching up, yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
So yeah, but I'll still play WoW. Maybe I'll get into some PvP. Who knows?
Dude, what?
Gotta-
Yeah, bro. Like, what if we had because sometimes that does
PvP.
it too, right? Sometimes, like, when you're starting to feel the slug about a game, it sometimes just like changing the way you experience it is so different. Like, dude, I'm telling you, man, this season just playing healer instead for a season has been so fun. Like, it's just been different, but it's been so fun, and I think it's fun because it's even though I love tanking, bro, it's just different. And so I get to log in and I'm hitting different buttons. I'm thinking through different processes. It's the same darn game, but now my character's skin color is red and I throw water at people instead of hitting them with a shovel.
Yeah, see, that was the other possibility. Maybe I'll just kind of try to, instead of getting KSL, maybe I'll try to get like KSM on my monk healer.
That's true too.
So
that could
we'll
be really
see.
fun.
We'll see.
Dude, just come to the guild these events.
Yeah, I mean, my week's been pretty good on WoW. This is probably the most I've pushed in WoW this season.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of good doing that. And then, there's obviously a lot of news this week, and we'll start getting into that in just a couple seconds. But there's one thing that I wanted to talk about real quick, and it'll be real quick.
No, dude, I thought we weren't going to talk about this.
You're right. And
I don't know what this is. I have no clue, actually.
I know it's a tough time, but you got to talk about it. What do you think? Okay, so let me preface this. Do you think this is one of the better dungeon pools in the season?
Oh. Okay.
You're probably like, what?
Okay, so here are my thoughts. I think if you ask somebody who was like super high end, hyper competitive, like dungeon M+ player, X enthusiast, right? They would probably tell you that this season is terrible and the bugs ruin it all and it's horrendous. My take, dude, my personal take, I love this dungeon pool. This might be my favorite dungeon pool ever of all time. Like, this dungeon pool might be the best dungeon pool that Blizzard has ever had. This dungeon pool cooks.
Whoa.
The only thing that could have made this dungeon pool better, probably a Mythic plus Shadowfang Keep.
Oh my gosh.
If I were to give a suggestion, that's all. Would that be a good M+ dungeon? Probably not. I don't care if it's good or not. I just want it. But I like this dungeon pool. And I get it, dude. I get that there was some weirdness with like Arcar for a minute. I get that Halls of Atonement had some weirdness and still has some weirdness to it, although it seems like they resolved a lot of that. I get that Dawnbreaker is incredibly buggy. But dude, Dawnbreaker's a freaking awesome dungeon. I love Dawnbreaker.
Dude, I don't know why everyone says Dawnbreaker's the buggy. Like, I've never had problems with Dawnbreaker. Literally, I've never.
I haven't had one with it in a while, like a long while. I don't think I've had any issues with it this season. And the thing is, even if I did, oh well. You know why I'm willing to give Dawnbreaker some slack on bugs? Because Dawnbreaker's really cool.
It's a good dungeon.
Yeah, it's really cool. The fights are fun. And the design is so experimental and different, right? Like, dude, we're literally like flying between like airships. We're like flying between airships and fighting things, right? It's and then like trying to like rescue a town from like a takeover. It is actually like sick.
It's oh my goodness.
It's a sick dungeon. The fights are kind of innovative, really right? They incorporated dragon riding into a Mythic plus boss fight, and it feels good. Like, it actually feels good the way they did it. The mechanics on the second boss are really cool, but they teach them to you through the like the mini bosses. Even the final boss, right, sets you up for what would have been the raid, but isn't the raid right now. It's just it's a really cool dungeon. And my thing is, I'm okay with some bugs here and there on occasion if it means that Blizzard's innovating, right? Like if Blizzard's trying new cool things, and that means occasionally it's buggy, and occasionally your key is gonna get bricked, but overall it means that like you're getting cooler stuff. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I think that's a good analogy. But the reason I brought this up, and this might be a weird conversation, but I was thinking about this actually last week, and I wanted to bring it up on the podcast last week. We just never got to it.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a correlation between the enjoyment of a season and the amount of bosses in those dungeons? And let me preface this and why I'm asking this question.
Okay.
This is the first dungeon pool we've had, and I dated this back pretty far, so don't quote me on the actual date, but it's been years where there are more dungeons that have less than 4 bosses than dungeons that have more than 4 bosses. Typically, we've only gotten about 2 dungeons that have less than 4 bosses. Wow. This season, we have 5.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think part of it, I don't know, because I like Streets, though. I think Streets is a cool dungeon.
Yeah, Streets is a cool dungeon, yeah.
But what Streets have, like 5 bosses? 6 bosses?
Streets is 5. All the ones that have more than 3 bosses are Streets, Floodgate, and Halls.
Dude, half the time I forget that Floodgate is... Right? Like, half the time I forget Floodgate is actually that many bosses. Right? Because Floodgate, you're basically... Like, at one point, you're going boss, right? Like, you're boss.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, dude, that one doesn't even feel like there's that many bosses.
And that's only 4, right? It's not like it's 5, yeah.
Yes, that's 4.
Wow. And Gambit is 3?
Gambit is 3, yeah.
Wow. I guess they gave all their extra bosses to Streets.
I was just curious on your initial thoughts because, like I said, this is, from what I was able to find, this was like one of the only times that they've had a boss pool that only has... that has more. Typically, I looked at the ones at the War Within. I went back to Dragonflight, but I'm not sure exactly how many some of the Dragonflights one did.
Yeah.
But this season, the other 2 seasons, only had 2 dungeons each that were less than 4 bosses. All the other dungeons were 4 bosses or more. Typically, there are 4. I think most dungeons are typically 4 bosses. Some are 3, very few are 5. But this was the only season where they had more 3 boss dungeons than not. So I was like, is there a correlation there? I don't know. But I thought it'd be kind of a cool subject to talk about, just kind of touch on. But yeah, I'm not necessarily sure there is a correlation.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think those dungeons are some of the better dungeons. I mean,
yeah. So I'm thinking,
really like Echo Dome. Echo Dome is really cool, you know?
Echo Dome's a lot of fun. I like Gambit. Gambit's a lot of fun.
Gambit's good, dude. Yeah. Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker's fun. But then
Arcar is probably the only one that's like, it's okay. Like, Arcar is okay.
Yeah, Arcar is a 3-boss dungeon, but like they are scary bosses.
Yeah. I agree. I agree,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, Arcar though, also to me, dude, Arcar don't have the vibes, and that's what I think too. I think a lot of dungeons. I think a lot of like Arcar's probably my least favorite. This
that's fair.
Dungeon pool.
That's honestly fair. I feel like everyone dislikes Arcar,
bro. And I will, dude. Listen. The vibes of a dungeon will radically change how I view that dungeon. I think I'm a vibes guy. Again, I love Dawnbreaker because I think Dawnbreaker's got vibes. It's got good vibes, dude. Yeah. Airship battles, saving a town, like paladins, all sorts of stuff going on, right? Like all sorts of things happening. Dawnbreaker's cool, right? Never mind. Priory's probably my least favorite, but Priory's got vibe at least, which is nice, right? Priory's at least got vibe. I just dislike Priory because I'm scared of it. I'm just scared of Priory, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
Priory.
I look at Priory, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that, but dude, vibes just go a long way. Gambit, when you're like running through the Murlocs and then portaling around to different areas, that's cool. Gambit is a cool place. Streets for sure, dude. Streets for sure is a sick dungeon. Echo Dome is awesome. I don't know if there's anything I'd be about Echo Dome like this is sick, but I will say like I remember back in PC like thinking, man, I wish we could do more in these like dome things. So I do like the coloring, right, and the saturation of color in Echo Dome is really fun. But it also doesn't feel too green like some some of those dungeons can be. Floodgate also has vibes too, right? Like you're getting all the explosives to blow open really the thing, and then you're jumping down to the sewers. Sometimes in dungeons, I think it's really easy, especially if you're like only just focused on like M plus and like rushing through the dungeon and like doing it as successfully as possible. I do think you miss how cool these dungeons can be and what's actually going on, right? Like, it's easy to go into a floodgate and be like, oh, we gotta go here, fight this, then go here, then here, then here, to this boss, and then we go down the hall, then we go here, and then here. But you miss what's actually happening, right? Like, you miss these moments where you're like, yo, I gotta go take out the people dealing the explosives. I gotta take out this. We gotta plant bombs on this grate. Oh, shoot. This monster actually lives here, and because of what the goblins are doing, it's now being, like, agitated, and it's coming up to, like, stop us, even though really we're actually kind of trying to help it, right? But now we have to put it down so we can keep moving forward. Those things are cool to me. They're not always what matter the most, but sometimes those vibes, especially just a well-made dungeon, even if it's just the aesthetic and not even anything about what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Echo Dome is probably one of them. I just like the aesthetic.
I agree.
That's what's cool to me.
Yeah, I think it's got a really cool aesthetic, to be honest. Yeah, and again, 3 bosses.
Yeah,
but
like Arakar, for example, right? Arakar is a hard one because, like, I like the aesthetic. I like the idea. I like conceptually the idea of, like, the Nerubian civilizations underground. I thought the Nerubian underground dungeons were really cool in Wrath of the Lich King. However, Arakara just doesn't pull that off for me. It's almost too dark and purple. Like, it feels too dark and purple. And I wish that there was more. Like, I wish that you would look around in Arakara and just see, because Arakara is supposed to be the, like, lower part of, like, the Nerubian civilization. Like, oh, this is like the old town. Like, this is where stuff used to happen, but, like, nobody really lives here anymore, right? Like, it was supposed to be like your ruins, right? Like your archaeological stuff, right? And you kind of just go down, there's like spider webs and old buildings, right? But it doesn't, like, I wanted to tell more of a story than that, right? And it doesn't. It feels like they originally thought that, and then they just had to get it done.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, hey, remember cities?
Yeah.
We're just going to make a dungeon that basically is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And we're going to call it Arakara. And not City of Threads.
No, not City of Threads. Hot take.
Oh, wait. Those are supposed to
Arakar City of Echoes, right? The idea,
that's what it is, right. Yeah,
the idea is that it's the, like, remnants, the echoes of, like, their old civilization, and then City of Threads is supposed to be like, this is a city of spider people. They have threads. Yeah. City of Threads. My personal opinion, I think it should have been the other way around.
I agree.
I think Arakar City of Echoes should have been City of Threads, right? Because
I agree.
When you're in Arakara, when you're down there, it is this, like, very webby. You can tell all these old webs are down there. If you look around, it's old webs everywhere. I think it should have been City of Webs, right? And then they should have called City of Threads instead of just calling City of Threads. They should have also called it Arakar City of Echoes. And the reason why I say City of Echoes for the top part is because the whole time you're kind of doing this sneaky, like, spy mission thing while you're in there, and you're trying to, like, find information and track things down, and that Echoes just sounds more like that, right? Like, you're listening to whispers and hints from people and stuff.
No, I agree.
Yeah, but who knows? Who cares?
Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
That's all she wrote.
All right.
So, yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Warband, and we will be posting our 3-hour-long bonus content on Patreon.
3-hour long.
We've decided to shorten our actual content that you all know and love so much, and force you into a paywall to listen to it. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We'll never do that. We'll never do that. All right. If I'm honest, dude, I love our Patreon content, but honestly, like, most of our Patreon subscribers, I think, are sub to us just because they love the podcast and want to support us, not because there's a treasure trove of, like, tons of extra content on there.
The treasure of the best bonus
They
content
do it
ever.
because they love us.
Granted, we do have pretty
I love
good
them
bonus
too.
content.
I love our Patreon supporters. They're amazing.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
is
do
true.
appreciate them a lot.
So enough. Let's address the other elephant in the room. Legion Remix.
Dude, before we talk about
Boom.
Legion Remix, Turbo
Oh, yeah,
Boost and Legion Remix are coming out on the same day. How do you feel about that?
That is a miss in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely
a big
agree.
miss.
Absolutely agree, dude. I've been asking people.
Huge miss.
I've been asking people, and they're like, and people, I'm getting interesting answers. People are like, well, it gives people options depending on which one they prefer, which is fair, right? You at least know that on October 7th, if you want to keep just playing normal retail stuff, you have more to do, right? Or if you want to do Legion Remix, you can do Legion Remix. My thing though is like, dude, I think most people are gonna want to do both.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree. 100%.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe they're thinking, oh, Turbo Boost is for like high-end players and Legion Remix is for like casual players, right? But I don't think that's the case. And now I'm kind of like, dang it, Blizz. I want just make me do one of them. Don't make me do both at the same time. I don't want to. I don't want to be like leveling in Remix and then also trying to do all my extra gearing because now I have to get more crests for Turbo Boost.
Yeah, it's pointless in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that was a miss on Blizzard's part. I'm actually low key kind of upset about it, but I mean, what can you do, right?
What can you do?
Yeah, I was really hoping we would have both of them together, but guess it is what it is, right?
It is what it is. Nothing you can do about it. But Legion Remix is looking good.
Oh yeah, we're very good. Yeah.
And I'm excited. Have you seen like the gear drops and things that they're like offering in Remix? Like the extra rewards and stuff?
It looks pretty cool. Yeah, and everyone's talking. Yeah. There's a Wowhead article about it and just talking about gear progression and that kind of stuff in Legion Remix. And it looks like the gear cap's going to be pretty high or pretty on par with like current eye level gear at 740. Which is a little bit higher, but they were talking about eye level 740 gear being available if you complete a plus 63 Mythic Plus key.
Nice.
Dude, that is nuts. That's straight nutty.
Dude, I'm
excited.
Plus
63, bro.
I'm excited to see how they handle all of the like scaling stuff, right? Because also, how do you make like an infinitely scaling system like that actually feels good for everybody? And not just like, because otherwise what happens is nobody's going to feel like they're remotely close to each other, especially people you normally play with, right? So I'm excited to see how that works out. But dude, yeah, bro, like imagine these dungeons are just like absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I'm excited because I think that is one thing that Mop Remix just missed is like that kind of like infinite scaling kind of, hey, there's just not much to do after you hit like a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So I am excited that is the case because I think it adds that, hey, there's actually something to do now. Let's play the game, right? So that's kind of neat. We'll see though, right?
We will.
I'm interested to find out.
We will find out. Sorry, I'm yawning. If you hear me yawning on recording, I apologize. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long weekend. I'm excited.
Okay,
I'm not bored. I'm not bored. Chicken, I promise I'm not bored of what we're talking about. I love this conversation. My body,
hey,
my body
every once in a while,
is not as prepared for this as my mind is, okay?
Hey, everyone yawns. Don't worry about it, brother.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I never played Legion, so I'm interested in playing it. And
dude, I skipped Legion too. I'm not gonna lie, I skipped it. Not because it was
no, you didn't.
No, I did. I skipped Legion and BFA.
Did you actually?
Yeah, Legion and BFA, I skipped both of those.
Oh, I thought it was Mop or not Mop, WAD.
No. I played WAD and I left towards the middle end-ish of WAD. And then
WAD was always
Legion.
The one that I thought you skipped.
No, then I missed Legion and BFA, and it came back at the start of Shadowlands.
Okay.
But it wasn't because I didn't want to play Legion. In fact, I thought Legion was sick, dude. I was like so hyped that Illidan was coming back. I thought it was so cool. I just financially like didn't have a PC anymore. Wasn't gonna be able to get a PC, So I was in school, and I wasn't even really focusing well enough in school, so I knew I shouldn't add any more distractions. So, it is what it is. Or it might have been like right when I was coming out of school, one or the other. But the point being though, like when it came out, I just didn't have the ability to play. Like I just physically could not play. But I want to, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what ends up happening.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. It looks really good. I'm excited to start playing it. Yeah, I think that's like where I'm probably going to spend the majority of my time once that comes out.
And even just the collectible things, the transmogs look really good. I've heard rumor, I don't know if this is true, you might know. I've heard rumor that, and I suspect, like even if nobody said this, I personally would deduce it, that we're probably going to see some player housing stuff maybe offered even in Legion Remix.
Yes, that's been confirmed.
Oh, it has been? Like officially or just like data mining?
There's been data mining that there is like specifically an NPC that literally is like, like how they say like NPC or like so-and-so's name and then it says like what they do. Like,
yeah.
There's literally one that's like said like, oh, this guy's name is Timmy and he's housing. Like that's literally been like found.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty confirmed that there's going to be some tie with player housing. Right. And then that's now speculating with people saying like, okay, there's, a timeline for Legion Remix. So does that mean player housing comes out at the end of Legion Remix, which could be as soon as like the end of the year, which is probably a lot sooner than what most people thought.
That's exciting though.
Yeah, I think it's like December. I just had it up like 2 seconds ago. Let me see if I can find it.
Because here's the thing. Normally with I'm trying to think. Normally with like expansion features, it's usually like a couple weeks, like a few weeks before the expansion launches. It's like, hey, look, come start warming back up to World of Warcraft before the expansion launches. You have access to the Drakthir now. You have access to making whatever, right? But player housing is gonna be a weird one where people are so hyped for it that I would not be surprised if that early access they give us is like 2 months ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Yeah, so right here it's confirmed that December 9th is kind of when they'll wrap down Legion Remix, and they specifically call it content like related to Legion Remix and more is what they say. So the and more is what people are kind of speculating is that going to mean that's when player housing comes out?
Oh, true.
I don't think so. That seems kind of early in my opinion, but I guess I'm not necessarily super surprised if it were to come out then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I also, so back to what I was saying. Sorry, my brain's on it. I think one of the misses with the Midnight release announcements and stuff was that the coolest feature of Midnight, player housing. Like the biggest, most time-consuming, coolest feature of Midnight is player housing. And because player housing was announced so freaking long, right? Player housing was announced, I think, the same time they announced The War Within, correct? They were both announced at the same time, right? So player housing is announced when the War Within announcement comes out. So by the time they actually announced Midnight and things happening at Midnight, I feel like we were so desensitized to player housing that we just don't even consider it a Midnight feature anymore, right? Like we're just like, that's really. We've been talking about that for over a year now, right?
Yeah,
my wonder is if they bring player housing itself too soon, would that potentially make the actual launch of Midnight feel lackluster, where you're like, oh, there's nothing new?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good. Actually, that's kind of scary to think about, that people will just kind of be like, oh yeah, this is literally just not anything. Like we already got what we wanted, basically. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I'm guessing you have to get the pre-order in order to get player housing access. So to some extent, you still have to buy it, but sometimes it's like not about what's true, but rather what your brain feels. And so that's kind of like, is there a cognitive dissonance there between like, oh, well, I know I paid for it when I bought Midnight, the pre-order, but I've been doing it for 2 months before Midnight came out. However, I would also not be opposed if Blizzard said, like, yo, we're going to let you just start collecting things for your player housing. And you can even view it. Like, you can see what they all looks like, and you can start collecting it now. You just don't have access to player housing until, like, 1 month or 3 weeks or something before midnight drops. Right.
I mean...
So you're collecting early, but you can't do anything with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... In my mind, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think people are really looking forward to player housing, and they're basically like, if it doesn't come out like soon, I'm going to like pound sand. I mean, I don't know what else they could do, right?
Fair. Dude, also, right, they're not going to unsub because they're going to come right back to player housing comes out. So that's kind of like not a great threat.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, right? And then, on top of that,
wait, yeah.
What'd you say?
What were you saying?
Sorry, I think my internet like glitched out there for a second.
Oh yeah, it sounded like you're speaking really fast.
Yeah, sorry. I think my internet glitched out there for a second. So
You're all good.
I was basically saying like I think people are gonna like revolt if they don't do something with player housing like before midnight, because and like in my mind it makes sense because I think people will kind of gravitate towards player housing when it first comes out. So if they don't do anything, it's gonna like I don't want to say the season and the expansion will flop.
Yeah.
But I could see there definitely being like a disconnect between people playing the actual expansion content and people playing basically for player housing, right?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. All right.
So
I want to one last question. We kind of talked briefly about it a second ago, but October 7th is the date for 11.5, and usually a 0.5 patch comes with some story stuff. They have not talked anything about that. When I say story stuff, I mean some extra quest lines. So like, oh, hey, look, here's some more quests that you can do, right?
To kind of tie it into the next season, basically.
Yeah, usually it's something that progresses the story along a little bit or tells a side story or something. And especially knowing that we have a whole expansion ahead of us. And the last thing that happened was Locust Walker gets killed and, what's her name? Zalatath has the... Dark Heart again, right? But now Demencius is inside of it. We know that, right? And we know because of the cinematic, at some point, Zalatath is going to try and attack the Sunwell, and I guess we're the ones maybe summoned through the Sunwell in that cinematic. We don't totally know, but there's some leaks that suggest that might be the case. So what gets Zalatath to the point where she's now attacking the Sunwell? Does she just get the Dark Heart and go straight there? Is that it? Is that all there is to it? Is there a little bit more? Are we going to get more? My gut tells me that we're going to get more, and so I would not be surprised if they just announced the big things like Remix and Turbo Boost, but if when 0.5 drops, we're going to find ourselves with a quest line. And they might be keeping the quest line a secret because maybe there's like spoilers that if they start talking about now, people would like deduce things too fast, and so they just have to kind of they have to let it just be a mystery.
That's a good point.
Right. If they don't, by the way, if 0.5 comes out and there isn't like any more story stuff, then for sure there's going to be a 0.7 patch that has more. But then that also makes things hard, right? Because now all of a sudden, the 0.5 patch comes out, we have Legion Remix, we have Turbo Boost, and now we have like a whole quest chain you have to do, right? Which one do you prioritize? Which one comes first? You probably, if you want to do Remix, you don't want to get behind, right? Nothing worse than like getting behind a remix. So,
especially with frogs.
Especially with the frogs, dude. Those Legion frogs, bro. Those Legion frogs. Wait till Dragonflight remix, dude, and the Swag controversy.
Oh my gosh, dude! Don't even talk about Dragonflight remix. That can't happen. That can't happen.
I'm still a proponent. I'm a proponent for WAD remix. Not gonna lie. But why don't we get to some? Yeah, why don't we get to some listener questions?
I agree with that. I think it'll be next, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think WAD was too... Dude, I don't think you realize how negatively received WAD was. The problem is leveling in WAD.
Really?
Leveling in WAD is awesome, and a lot of the raids are really awesome. But WAD promised a lot, and WAD did not deliver on everything it promised. Garrisons were supposed to be player housing, basically, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't.
It just flopped.
No, and plus they didn't even have a faction capital or a major city like a capital for the expansion. Yeah, so like your garrison was just kind of like your home the whole time. Like you were always in your garrison, so you weren't even around. It was a whole thing. But let's get to, but I mean, no, before we do that though, just to wrap that thought up, the nice thing about WoD Remix would be though is that like all the things that flopped as a expansion launch would not be a problem for a remix, right? Like it just wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
like the pacing wouldn't matter for a remix. The failed promises really wouldn't matter for a remix, right? Like you can still do all the leveling stuff and the raids and like collect transmogs and appearances and random things, so it just wouldn't matter. Okay, with that said, we got some listener questions coming in.
It's already time for listener questions.
Listener questions. By the way, before we get into our listener questions, I should make sure to let everybody know a few things. First off, our podcast listeners get priority on listener questions when they sub to us on Patreon. So if you are subscribed to us on our Patreon in the content tier, actually, I think in all tiers. I think all tiers get Patreon or get a podcast question priority. So, we want to encourage you to check out our Patreon. It's a amazing way of supporting the podcast and allows Chicken and I to continue making content and doing some cool things and paying off the hosting fees for the podcast and other stuff. And so, please check that out if you have time. Also, on top of that, our guild, Astra, is a wonderful place to be. We love hanging out in Astra. It's amazing. Like it is the coolest guild I've ever been in this game. I love this guild. If you're looking for a home,
it's the only guild I've ever been in.
That's true.
Cool.
If you're looking for like a place to park your characters to call home, come check out Astra. Non-toxic guild, super encouraging, finding ways to help players get into like really any form of content that you're interested in doing. We might not be able to help you get into like a plus 16 dungeon, but we could teach you how M+ dungeons work and get you into some of those and help you work your way up. We can teach you how to raid and all sorts of other things. People love doing collecting, mount farming, transmogs, etc. And then that's true. And then lastly, we just want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors of the podcast, Zygor. Zygor is a add-on for World of Warcraft that gives you guides for pretty much anything you want to do in World of Warcraft, whether it's making gold, completing quests. I don't know if they have anything for Remix yet, so you have to check their site. But even in all of the classic content, Mop Classic, Vanilla, they have everything that you need to be as efficient and fast as possible. And if you use code SWAGLOCK, that's my name, you get 20% off. So there will be a link in the description if you want to check out Zygor as well. And man, Chicken, I can tell you, dude, trying to do spontaneous ads without having any sleep is a lot harder than when I'm normally rested and my brain is functioning fully. But yeah, there's just so many things that we love to be able to chat about and to be able to point out our guild, our Patreon, and even today's Zygor is just I think awesome. So on to the listener questions. Chicken, I got the first one for you coming in from Rage and Ridge, saying second question. So last week we answered one of his questions. This week we're gonna get his second question. What class do you think you could main no matter what spec you play?
Oof. Yeah, I mean, that's DK. Like, it's gotta be. Okay, DK's not bad. I don't think there's like... What'd you say?
The DK's not a bad option. You already play all three of them, don't you?
Yeah, I've literally played all three before, and I it's not that I'm like terrible at some of them. I mean, I'm decent at the DPS, and I'm a fair tank, So, but I feel pretty comfortable with all of them.
Well, you've been tanking most of this season, correct?
Yes.
And then normally when you DPS, you go for Unholy. But when we were running our 10 for the Patreon content this week, you were in Frost, correct?
Yes. Yeah, because Frost seems to be the better spec this go around. So I've been trying Frost, and it's fun. Yeah. I mean, I've been enjoying it, to be honest.
So I think it's harder for me, right? Because I don't normally play DPS, and so I'm like really thinking, and I want to be like, oh yeah, it would just be, I would just play DK, play anything, but I don't know. I don't actually know like if I could pick up the DK DPS specs. Well, I probably could if I had to learn them. But if like today somebody said, hey Swag, I need you to like play all specs in dungeons today of a class. The only one I think I could do it decently well on is actually Paladin.
That's what I was gonna guess. Oh yeah, Paladin.
Because I know I can tank very well on Paladin. I know I can heal pretty well on Paladin, And in the past, I have played Ret Paladin when needed to play Ret Paladin. But
it's like 2 buttons. Anyways, right?
Ret's relatively easy. You know, dude, we got the 1 button rotation. I can play all DK specs.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, a serious answer would probably be Ret Paladin.
1 button.
All right, question coming in from Carb. He says, hot take. Just a reminder, when we read this question, this is not coming from Swag and Chicken. This is coming from Carb. I hate delves, and I think they're just a place to go do a scaling world quest. Blizzard already had a way more fun version of solo player content with Torghast. The only reason it was hated by the community was because failing it punished your character's power progression. What do you think would be more popular in a future expansion, delves or Torghast, given they both gave the current delve system reward and repeatability?
I don't know. I mean, we learned pretty quickly last week that people do delves. Like, delves are pretty likable.
Yeah, people like them. Yeah.
Like, we learned that last week. We got tons of people that jumped into the Discord that said, like, oh, hey, I have actually done I've queued for delves in Group Finder, because that was a thing. Like, people don't do that.
Yeah, last week we were dismissive. We're like, dude, nobody does delves in
that,
group, right? And then sure enough, people pop in Discord, hey, I do delves in group. And I was like, never mind. I was wrong.
I was like, okay. Yeah, people actually do that. And I think more people do delves than we realize, because I don't think they would have, personally, I don't think they would have kept them around into midnight if they didn't. I think they would have just been like, okay, like, we did it. It was cool.
Like Torghast,
people liked it, right?
Yeah.
It would have kind of just been like one of those things that, just been one of those things, right? So I personally think delves are just here to stay. But I mean, I think it's got to be delves. Torghast was kind of dumb.
Oh, that's a hot take. So here are my thoughts. Here are my thoughts on the Torghast side of that conversation, right? Because I agree with everything Chicken just said about delves, right? People actually do genuinely enjoy delves. Torghast, it's actually hard to compare Torghast and delves, and the reason why it's hard to compare Torghast and delves is because they're totally different content, like totally different content. Delves are solo content for World of Warcraft players. Torghast is a whole different experience. Torghast is a different game. Like, Torghast was cool. I like Torghast, but Torghast was a different game. Right? Like, it's all about this, like, super high power scaling. It's about kind of, like, building your character as you're progressing into it, which I think is cool, and I wish we had more of. I wish Torghast... I actually like Torghast. If you said, hey, Swag, you have to either do Torghast or delves, I would pick Torghast every time. Every single time. Torghast, to me, is more fun. Because if I want to do a delve type thing, I'm just going to do an M+ dungeon. Yeah. Right? Like, to me, M+ dungeon is just better. It's just, anything a delve offers, M+ does better to me. With that said, that's why delves, though, I think make more sense than Torghast. Because, like, I would also rather do M+ than Torghast if I had to be. Like, right? So, the people who like delves, I don't think Torghast scratches the itch of feeling like they're still playing their World of Warcraft character. Right, because Torghast is more like you're building a character as you progress the Torghast level, whatever it is. Whereas delves still feel like, no, dude, I'm walking this delve playing my character, and I'm working alongside Bran. I'm a healer, and I'm still just focusing on healing. Right? If I go into Torghast as a healer, I'm just like juicing up healing rain so everything in it dies. I'm not playing a healer. You're right. Like, I'm playing whatever weird Torghast thing I've created, which to me is fun. Right? To me is fun. I think, though, the real reason, though, people dislike Torghast, and the reason why it didn't continue, actually wasn't because of what Torghast was. I actually think they could have gone crazier with Torghast and continued building it, and I think people would have liked it in Dragonflight. The problem is, though, and again, Blizzard doesn't have the money and time to waste trying to, like, rework something players hate. If players hate something...
Oh, yeah, no.
It's better for Blizzard to just not try a second time and to try something else, right?
Just own it, yeah.
And just be like, okay, we'll just do something completely different. We're not going to try and convince them to like this thing. So Torghast kind of fell into that trap. I think the reason why people hate it, though, wasn't about necessarily punishing power progression as much as it was required power progression, right? Like I like delves, dude, but the moment I had to do, I say like, but I say like very lightly, right? Like like I like the existence of delves.
I like asterisk delves.
I liked that delves exist, right? It's cool that they exist. I think other players benefit from them. I'm happy they benefit from them. The moment Blizzard said, yo, you gotta go into delves and do delves to get a belt, I was like, yo, can we nuke delves? Can we get rid of them?
You're like, get rid of them, bro.
Was it hard for me to go into a bunch of level 1 delves real fast and just power run them so I can get my belt and all my belt upgrades? No. It was the easiest thing in the world, dude. I barely paid attention. But it's time. And that means now I'm spending time doing something I have no interest in doing, and I'm forced to do it in order to do the thing I'm interested in doing, right? No one who likes doing delves is forced to do M+ to do delves, right? Like, it's not like, yo, in order to do delves, you gotta go run a +10 real quick and then come. Like, no, right? So, like, that's part of it. Now, you could be like, well, I still want better gear. Yeah. At that point, though, you gotta get into harder content, and that's fair. If it's harder content, I'm okay with it. I didn't love just being forced inside content. It felt like Torghast felt, where I was like, dang, I want my legendary. I gotta go do this friggin' Torghast chore real quick.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah, Torghast, big bad.
Right, like, yeah. And so that's where Torghast became a chore. And the moment you make something a chore, it's not fun. And so that's where Torghast failed. I also think one of the big misses of Shadowlands was the whole Maw visual design was very gray.
Oh, yeah.
Very gray and very bland. Even the fire felt bland, right? And I think that hurt Torghast, because Torghast just felt... And by the way, they nailed what they were going for. What they were going for was supposed to be this, like, miserable, hopeless, like, eternally lost feeling, right? You're just like, I'm just going to be stuck here forever type feeling. And they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. But that feeling doesn't feel cool or good. And so, like, you go into Torghast, and it just feels like, like tons of floors of just metal walls. And points and sharp things, right? Like, it just... I think that's where Torghast kind of dropped the ball.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Anyways.
All right, next question coming in. I think this one's more for me, probably, so I'll answer this one real quick. I actually had answered it on Discord, but I think it's nice that we kept it in here. I think it's nice that we kept it in here because it does bring up something I want to mention, actually. And so it's from Give Me a Break. And the reason why I answered this one on Discord, even though we asked in the pod question, is sometimes there's certain questions where, like, you don't want to wait a whole week.
Oh yeah.
Right, you just don't want to wait a whole week to, like, find an answer for something that you actually want to get done right now, right? And so Give Me a Break said, 2 questions on the last episode. Can you link your Resto cheese spec, please? And in delves, do you have Bran as a tank or DPS? So I think the Resto cheese spec was referring to my raid spec. I just used the Whispering Waves build from Wowhead. Dude, imagine going to like a rave where everybody whispered. But anyways, Whispering Waves build on Row. Okay, I can't talk anymore. I'm done. I'm cooked. Chat. No.
Wowhead.
But anyways, Whispering Waves from Wowhead in raid. And it works. It works very well. The reason why it feels cheesy sometimes is like, dude, I'm just spamming like 2 spells most of the time and using no mana. Like, my mana does not move. I'm just like constantly tapped off on mana. It's fantastic. So that one's a good one. And I think I maybe linked it or said that in the Discord. The other thing though, and this is why I really brought this question up. He said, do you have Bran as a tank or DPS when you're in delves? I put Bran as a tank, and what I could say right now could be absolutely false. I could be blowing smoke out my butt. I think it's true. I think I heard it at some point last season when Bran was added as a tank option. So I think I'm correct on this, and in the way I play, I have no reason to believe this is not true. Okay? Let me just clarify. Maybe I'm dumb and I haven't known this, but everything I'm doing, it feels true. So I've never actually double-checked. But I'm pretty sure Bran does more damage the more you heal him. I'm like pretty confident about that.
That's 100% correct.
And so I think where a lot of healers fall short in delves is they'll go in and they'll treat Bran kind of like they would treat a normal group member doing a dungeon, right? So it's like
a normal tank, yeah.
Right. So if I'm doing a dungeon, especially tank, right? But if I'm doing a dungeon and someone's health dips down a little bit, I'm not healing them. Like, if you lose like 20% of your health, I'm not healing you, dude. When you hit that like 60, 50, 40% mark, okay, now I'm going to do some work, right? But it's more effective for me to be throwing out some DPS attacks than trying to constantly keep everybody perfectly topped off. In Delves, though, it's the exact opposite. I'm almost never casting any attack spells when I'm in the Delve. I walk in, and that Whispering Waves build I mentioned could be a fun one to use because, again, you can just spam Healing Wave and not touch mana, right? I don't know. You would probably want to build one that's more like single target focus, like single target healing focus, because Whispering Waves is about getting as many Riptides out as possible. Well, whatever. I'm overthinking. I think Wowhead probably has Delve builds for Resto Shaman. But whatever healer you're playing, just spam Bran. Just spam him. I don't care if his health is full. Just keep hitting him with your heals, and you will find that he just wrecks things. He just absolutely destroys everything he comes across. I don't even think about it. I literally just spam heals on him. And then that way mobs aren't really coming after me. They're just going after Bran. I'm not trying to figure out how to live everything. To me, that I don't know. I think healing Delves is actually like wickedly easy. But I think a lot of people treat it like it's more like a dungeon. And because of that, in the way that you would normally treat another player, right? Like if I'm healing Chicken in a dungeon, Chicken's not doing more damage because I'm healing him.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't normally work that way. So I don't mind letting his health drop a little bit while I do some fireballs, and then as soon as his health is too far down, then I heal him up and I get back to shooting my lightning or something.
Yeah, no, you are 100% right on that. Yeah, if you heal him, he does more damage, and yeah, it's totally different from like a M plus or anything else. So
okay, good. I want to make sure I was correct on that.
No, you are, and that's the reason why I kept it in, because there was a lot of people in Discord again that were like, "Oh yeah, I do this," and people didn't realize that was actually a thing.
Yeah, dude, I love that in WoW. By the way, finding out that something works in a way you never knew it could work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Dude, it's just cool. That's like one of my favorite things about WoW is being like, wait. This I can do this. This is a thing. All right.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Another question coming in from Bing Billbonger. And I'm going to be pretty quick on this one. I'm actually meant to answer this on the Discord and then not include in the podcast. But then I forgot. I just forgot to leave a reply. So Bill Bingbonger was saying, hey, not WoW related. I know you do graphic design as part of your primary job and was just curious if you had any tips about how I could get started in designing some stuff for my stuff on my YouTube channel. I'm not trying to encroach on your content. Well done. Dude, you can make all the WoW content you want. You're not going to offend me. I actually am wanting to do a channel about slow pitch softball. I want to do some graphics for each bat I review. Is there a program that you would recommend me use that is a free, cheap, and beginner friendly? Yes, actually, I do. So, and the reason why I'm okay with talking about this on the podcast too is because, dude, everybody loves making content, right? Like, and even if you're just like a officer in your guild and you want to be able to post cooler like headers for your guild events or something. Even for like our guild, dude, I post I make a little graphic every time we post our Sunday key teams, just because it feels cooler to like
it feels better.
Have your name show up in something that feels designed and like time was put into it, rather than something that was just like haphazardly just typed out, right? Like it just feels cooler. You know, you add credibility. So I think a lot of people are going to be able to use this. What I'm about to offer probably comes up when you Google it, but my background is actually Photoshop. I use Photoshop for everything I do because that's just where I operate the fastest. That's what I'm trained in. But if that's not you, I would suggest checking out Canva. Canva has some awesome utility. That's spelled Canva. Canva. We use it where I work. A lot of people who work in our communications who aren't graphic designers, and like I wouldn't even say I'm a full graphic designer, because graphic design has just always been something I've had as part of different jobs I've had, but it's never been my primary job. But yeah, people without the background that I have at work use Canva for a lot of things, and it's great, and it's usually pretty quick to use. They also give you a lot of utility in the program and like tools in the program, and even just like random graphical things like arrows and stuff that make your life a lot easier. So Canva's a good one, especially like I've actually the only time I've ever actually used Canva, I think, was I was helping somebody out who was starting a YouTube channel for some stuff, and I created them like a thumbnail template in Canva, And I think to this day they still use it. I think they've been using it for the last
wow.
2 years. Yeah. Yeah. So they still use it. And it helps them out a ton. So Canva's a good one for that. I know it's random, but I figured we probably have content creators, guild officers, whatever, people in here who can probably put that to use or would be excited to find that out. All right.
Yeah, I agree.
Last question. And this one's going to be a juicy one. Pod question. This one is specifically for Chicken. JK. He'll probably want to plug his ears. Swag. Is there a fun, cool lore behind the Dark Moon Fair? Like, where did it come from? Who started it? I'm sure I could just look it up, but where's the fun in that? All right, so here's the deal.
True.
I am not an absolute expert on the Dark Moon Fair lore. There might be more going on, but I think I do. Okay, here's the thing. It's more fun if I'm just like winging it than if I'm like opening up the wiki page and reading it to you. So I'm pretty confident I know the story behind the Dark Moon Fair. But also, if anybody else knows more, feel free to throw it on Discord, right? However, as far as I'm aware, there actually is like almost no lore to the Dark Moon Fair. Like as far as I'm aware, like there's pretty much no lore to the Dark Moon Fair.
That's kind of shocking.
So you said where did it come from? Who started it? I'm pretty sure Silas Darkmoon started it. We know he runs it. I'm assuming he also started it. Okay, so my assumption is Silas Darkmoon started it. Silas Darkmoon, though, is this kind of interesting character where there's some like odd, and I'm gonna blank on names because again I'm not looking at the information. This is just things I've read in the past. One of the people in the Darkmoon Fair mentioned Silas having like either saved him or recruited him for the Darkmoon Fair when he was like I think coming out of like Strom or something, right? Like the ancient human kingdom, right? Like the ancient human kingdom. So Silas is definitely way older, like for sure way older than a human should be, right? So there's a lot of mystery there of like, yo, why is this guy so old? Like this isn't even possible. So there's a lot of mystery there. Around Silas kind of plays that stereotypical role though of like the crazy carnival owner, right? Like he's like just like that mysterious, dark, voodoo-y almost kind of like carnival owner. So if you've ever like seen like stories or movies in that realm, think of him kind of like that. What we also know though is the Dark Moon Fair uses a lot of imagery of that like eyeball, right? And that eyeball is particularly linked to like old god type stuff, right? Like we see that a lot with old gods. N'Zoth is a good example of that. You even saw it with Xal'atath's dagger, right? When Xal'atath's in her dagger, she got the little eyeball on the dagger. So we believe that there's definitely heavy old god influence with the Dark Moon Fair, but we actually have not had any confirmation on anything regarding it. I would not be surprised if in Midnight we did, but also Midnight seems to be more of a pure void type expansion, not a old god void expansion. As we're finding that the old gods kind of had their own brand of void in terms of like all the tentacles and the eyeballs and all that stuff. So I don't know. What I would say though is I would not be opposed to like a Dark Moon Fair dungeon in the future, or even like a mega dungeon. A Dark Moon Fair mega dungeon could be kind of cool, or just like a normal dungeon. Maybe a raid. I would take a raid. It's fun to kind of step back and look at all the cool like potential that still exists in World of Warcraft for things to still come. But also I think Blizzard plays it safe because the Dark Moon Fair is kind of a holiday event. And I say holiday event, but it happens every month, right? Because if they tell too much of the story, then like what are the repercussions of that? Does that mean the Dark Moon Fair can never be updated again because it's destroyed? Or does it mean that the Dark Moon Fair now has had its story concluded, so it doesn't make sense to still be on the calendar? Right, so you kind of run into that problem. So sometimes the mystery of something is more fun than getting the answer to the mystery. Because if we're also honest, right, like, you know, who knows how much Blizzard has actually figured out about the Dark Moon Fair currently lore-wise. And so all that means is, like, it's not that there's this mystery that we need to solve. It means that, like, there's kind of a mystery around the Dark Moon Fair. And if we want an answer, it means Blizzard just has to make up an answer, right? Like, the answer is like, well, Blizzard just has to make something up. And maybe I like the mystery more. Maybe I just like the fact that it's this mysterious thing. I don't know. I would also like get so hyped if we had like a Dark Moon Fair themed dungeon. Yeah. So I don't know.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
TBH.
Yeah, it is cool though. I wouldn't mind the Dark Moon Fair update, by the way.
I always like the aesthetic of the Dark Moon.
It is
Fair.
cool. It is cool, and sometimes I go and try and get the little rabbit pet. Still haven't though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I believe that's everything. Anything else, Chicken, that you wanted to touch upon on the podcast today that we have not gotten to?
We got to everything, baby.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. What a good episode. Lots. I mean, it's hard because, dude, there's always stuff going on, man. Like, there's always things happening in this game, even when it feels like it's slow. Like, even when it feels like it's slow, dude, there's just always something occurring, always something happening, which I think is...
it does. Always.
Which is really awesome.
Always something going on.
Oh, what's this? Sorry.
Oh.
So, title, Blizzard China implies mythic raid boss kill requirements during turbo boost. So I'm guessing the, so it's the same thing. So it says World of Warcraft Chinese server operations team translated. So this is a translation, something posted. In the future, the War Within Season 3 Turbo Boost event, players will have to have defeated the appropriate mythic difficulty Mana Forge Omega boss at least once without violating any rules in order to unlock and purchase their corresponding mythic equipment. Otherwise, even if it has been unlocked, the corresponding mythic equipment will be reclaimed. So
interesting.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's the same thing as last season, where we'll get the dinar type things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's been confirmed.
Yeah, and then we have to, but they're not like making it any easier to get mythic, which I'm okay with, by the way. I think it's totally fair to say, yo, if you want the mythic loot, dude, you got to put the work in. Like, if you want it, put the work in. If you've proven you can at least kill the boss, we'll let you have the item, but you have to prove you can at least do the thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right. But that is everything we have time for today on this week's episode of the Warband. We're so excited to be with you, and we will be back next week.
Yeah, buddy.